Hey, this is Matt. Once again, we're about to end the videos. Another paid request, this time for the movie reviewer next door. Thank you so much for that, man. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos or topics, reactions, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for a 2018 film called Parallel, which I never heard of. I guess it went way, way under the radar. Just a 5.8 on IMDb, which is reasonable because I didn't mind the film. Actually, for a good chunk of it, I was rather enjoying it, but I think the screenplay at times let it down. I think if a few more polishes on the screenplay, this would have been a nice hidden gem. But as is, it's a decent time waster. The beginning is interesting because you have this old woman caught by this person with a white mask and she gets murdered, and then when the person takes the mask off, it's the same woman. Or another version of her, I should say. Another version of this woman. So she hides the version of her she killed in order to go on to her husband's bed. And you pretty much get the idea that maybe from her world, her husband was dead, but she killed this one so that she could be in the world with her husband alive and take that person's place. Gets into the main bit of the story where we have four friends, Devin, Noel, Lena, and Josh. Devin and Noel are trying to work on this parking app. They're trying to sell it to this company. Hey, you give us a month. And they go, well, actually, we want it Thursday. Otherwise, we got this other thing with this guy named Seth. Seth fucked them over. Seth was a guy that was going to work for them, but you guys were too cheap, so he went to another company and fucked them over, betrayed them. So they don't know what to do. They figure Devin thinks it's all over. Noah's like, oh, you always quit. Come on now. The other friend's Lena. She's an artist. Josh, he likes to pick up the ladies. Devin thinks they should all move on. Just all working in this company, kind of an upstart software company, to try to get this app going, but things aren't working out. So they have a bit of friction, and I thought the actors did a good job. I thought that was one of the big positives of the film. I thought the actors were rather solid, honestly. And I didn't mind their interactions with each other. I thought they were kind of likable. Like the first time we see Lena and Josh interacted with each other, they had felt like they were friends. They didn't feel like strangers that were just plucked in to be in a movie. They felt like they knew each other for a while, these four. So they're having an argument, and one thing leads to another. Something gets thrown at a wall, and they realize there's a fake wall at the place that they're staying at. And when they open up the wall, there's another hidden room, and there's a mirror. If the mirror is positioned the right way, it's a portal. They kind of find out that the portal is to another alternate universe. Kind of like Sliders with Jerry O'Connell. But not as drastic. Because when they go to a parallel universe, and apparently, for understanding the rules, their universe, there's their prime universe. When they go through the mirror, they go to any number of parallel universes. Just for a while, I thought it was the same one. Because they all had the same color scheme, where the colors seem a bit more muted. While I guess that's to separate like the prime universe, the colors are much more strong, while the parallel universe, the colors all seem a bit, I don't know, maybe muted is not the right word, but different in terms of look. But all the parallel universes had the same look. So I'm like, for a while I thought they were just going to the same one, until I'm like, oh no, they are going to different ones. But yet, for the most part, they're the same. Except, I guess, minute differences in art. Because once they do this, they start studying it and going, oh, well, the history books, each time we find a history book, they all seem the same. But at the same time, it's like they read one history book. Like, maybe if they had read, like, here's 5 history books from 5 different universes and they all seem the same, then I would have comprehended a bit better that there was all multiple instead of one. Just got to a point where they kept going, they kept stealing another version of themselves' wallet and raking up the cash. I'm sitting there going, how much money does this alternate version have that they, like 100,000? No, apparently they went to the same, they went to one and it was like the same. That's what was confusing about it. I know I'm going all over the place. Because it's minute differences until it's parallel universes, but it's like mostly the same. But if it's mostly the same, then it raises a lot of questions. And then when something different happens, you go, well, wait a minute, well, how? If it was mostly the same, then how come this and this and this and this? It's just whatever's convenient to the plot, I guess, is what I'm going with. For what's the same, what's different. It's whatever convenient to the plot. Because what happens is, at first they use it to go over and do their work, because 10 seconds over there, no, 30 minutes over there is 10 seconds here. So if they do their work for like 2 weeks or so, something like that, it's only a day or 2 or 3 in their prime world. So they go over there, and somehow they work, and nobody in the house from that universe notices that they're working. Just think about it. If they're working in that universe, I forget if it was like the attic or the basement. Because I thought it was the attic, because it shows them up top and the camera goes down. But there are times they leave, and it's like they leaving out of the basement. I'm sure it's not the movie's fault. I just fucked up and its interpretation. But it's like, okay, they're in the attic. It looked like, because the camera goes down to what the other versions of this universe are doing. But then they leave, and it seems like they're coming out of a door that leads to the basement. So, I probably fucked up, and it's not what I don't know. So blame me on that. But it's like they're working all this stuff and eating pizza, talking, typing, and nobody in the actual house would hear that shit. Also, if things are mostly the same, didn't they say in the Prime world they weren't be able to sell this app? And if that's the case, then they won't be here much longer. But yet each alternate universe seemed like they're there for the long run, and they're doing perfectly fucking fine. They're not. That's it. If they're mostly the same, then wouldn't they be pissed that they can't get their app working? Or did they get their app working that in each of these parallel? Does every other parallel universe they get their app working? So that's why that universe is much more fine and dandy and like playing video games, and they're not like how it was in the Prime universe where they're upset and angry and wonder what the hell to do next, and fighting and frustration. It just makes me ask a lot of questions of like, well, what's similar and what's the same, and okay, they read one history book, but if it's multiple parallel universes, when they read like 10 history books to see how all 10 of them are the same or different. It's the same where they go to the same, looks like the same guy taking the same wallet, but I guess these alternate universes where they take the wallet, they just spend all this money. That's why I made me go, well, wait a minute, is this the same guy and they just keep stealing his wallet? But wouldn't he notice by now that, wait a minute, I have this much money on there? But I didn't mind the actors and the characters. I like the idea of the parallel universes. And of course, yes, if that happened, they would use it for selfish monetary gain, as most inventions, or just most discoveries happen to be. But again, it just leaves a bigger question of just how this thing works. and it just was a bit confusing on that front. I think that could have been better explained. I think that could have been better handled. They explain a little bit of it, but I think there's more they could have explained of just... Again, if it's such minute differences, then aren't they... Why are the alternate universe team always happy while they are, their app was going to the shits because of Seth? Well, it did seem like it was that way in any other alternate universe. At least it didn't seem like by their behavior. And anyway. But pretty much they keep stealing alternate versions of this one guy's wallet to spend money and buy stuff. So it was like their free lottery ticket. Go to universe, steal his money. Which all four of them don't really seem that bent out of shape of you're still taking this guy's money and stealing all of it. I know Devin has the moral high ground, but he doesn't really feel that way in this case. Like, hey dude, you're still stealing this one guy's money, and granted the guy says, well, if it that's a version of me and I would have done the same thing, so don't feel bad. At the same time, that universe, that guy's, all his money's been spent out. That means he's in a big deficit. That means he don't owe a lot of money, and that means that's not going to help with their startup company, and they're going to be fucked over in that universe. So, kind of hard to root for the main characters after that front. But anyway, the way they're looking at... Also, a scene that did not need to be there. Josh had said one thing he would love to do is have $1 million and blow it up. Why? I don't know. And so as they keep stealing the wall and going and buying all this stuff, there's a scene where Josh and Noel are dressed like Marlon Brando from The Godfather. And they have $1 million. How the fuck they got $1 million? Because, I mean, okay, if you're stealing a wallet, maybe you get a couple thousand. How many times do you have to do that to get $1 million? And then you just don't do that to blow it up? It was meant to be funny. I didn't think it was funny. I don't think you needed that scene. I think you could have easily cut that scene out. And it didn't really make any fucking sense at all. Like, you guys complain about money, but you have $1 million, you don't blow it up. I don't think it was needed. And it, again, didn't make a lot of sense. But by that point, I did think this was an interesting idea where they... During that, they find a movie called Frankenstein starring Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. And you go, wait a minute, this movie never happened. And that's where they find out that the differences are mostly the artistic or technological. Although if technological, that also just brings a bit of confusion. Like artistry, like movies and art and paintings, okay. But if it's technology, just no... Devin is kind of along for the ride. He's our lead guy, and he's kind of searching for a universe where his father's still alive because his father was in jail and had ended his life. And he keeps looking until he finally does find a universe where his father's alive so he can apologize for what he had said. That was a nice little bit of business. I didn't mind the guy who played Devin. I would say of the characters, I liked him the most. Lena would take art from other universes, kind of trace it, really. Like, sketch it, trace it. You fucking tracer! You goddamn tracer! And pawn it off as her own. So she's stealing all their art to make it as her own in order to make a lot of money from that. Josh is just along for the ride just to pick up ladies. Like, he'll go to each universe to his ex. Has this one song that I guess was only in one universe. This band had this one song and no other universes had this song. That's the thing. It's like, really? This one universe had this one song? Like, it makes it seem as if he went to 10, 20, 30 universes and None of them had this one song? Okay. I guess so. Just go along with it. But Noel, he steals technology. Like, what's your idea? And they have an idea for technology, so he takes that idea, brings it back to the prime world, and patents it, sells it to make a lot of money. Although that leaves a question, if each of these universes have this much technology, like each universe has a certain unique technology that are coming up, wouldn't it be technology they had also before? Like, okay, if movies could be different, now you're saying technology could be different. Could that mean technology in the past in that universe be different as well as the present and future of that? Because you open up the Pandora's box that technology could always be different in each of these universes. That's why this guy is stealing the ideas and selling them off. But if ideas that are coming up could be different, that means since technology like movies and art are ever changing compared to your universe, that means technology in the past, they could have invented the internet 30 years before we did. Or computers 20 years before or 10 years before we did. Or other stuff before we did. Maybe the automobile was in a much different decade than ours were. And if that's the case with the technology, then each universe then looked remarkably different in terms of technology, in terms of what they have, utilizing, showcasing. That's the thing, you open that up and it's like, well, wait a minute, then how come each universe still looks the same as ours if their technology has potential to be so different than ours? And it just leaves a lot of questions. That's what I think the screenplay needed a few rewrites to... I like the idea. I like the actors. I like some of their personal conflicts where Lena kind of realizes that it's not fulfilling to be stealing other people's art, and Devin looking for his father, and Noel getting so money hungry that it becomes more selfish and it becomes more dangerous. And how does that make your moral more gray? Because spoilers, what happens is at one point Josh gets Devin, hey, let's go out. They go to a universe. Josh wants to get picked to one of his ex-girlfriends, but this time she has a boyfriend that comes in, shoots him. Devin gets Josh over to their prime world, and Josh is dying, bleeding, does die, while Lena and Noel don't do anything. Noel doesn't do anything because he wants to protect the mirror and their cash cow, their piggy bank, pretty much. Of course, Devin gets pissed off about that. Then they come up with an idea, this was... Some of the stuff was in my head. This is when the movie really kind of went from, oh, this could potentially be a gem, to, yeah, this is maybe at best a time waster. This is where it kind of lost me. They kidnap a Josh from another universe, chloroform him, bring him to their prime universe, make it seem like, oh yeah, you were really drunk, man. In fact, we even got you this job here. And then thought everything would be hunky-dory. And I'm like, these are supposed to be smart people, building apps, starting software corporations. Lo and behold, this is what happens. Josh feels like he doesn't belong, and then lo and behold, he goes on social media and goes, wait a minute, I didn't take that picture. I was in that location. I didn't know that person. Who's that person? Which is funny again with how they keep saying everything seems the same except technology and art. But now Josh knows in all these differences. Well, okay, so how much is the same, how much is different? You kept wanting to say it's history and stuff are all mostly the same. But Josh is noticing Josh is noticing 8,000 differences. I'm like, you didn't expect that? No, and that no one expected this to happen? I could have told you what would have happened. Or like he finds this food, no, this book. He's like, wait a minute, that's not what the book is called. It didn't start with this letter. It started with this letter, and he feels like he's going insane. I thought Josh, the actor, did a good job. And that could be some really interesting idea, perhaps, of maybe like a weird version of the Truman Show where you're an alternate version. And wait a minute, am I going insane? I don't remember. It could be like a take on the Mandela effect, right? It's a crazy Mandela effect on everything in your life, and then you kind of find out you're from another universe, and either it's part of a trick, or it's part of a game show, or it's part of TV entertainment, or it's part of something else altogether. Like maybe this type of plot, but with a little bit more finesse in the script. But apparently these other people were so stupid they didn't realize that, yeah, maybe Josh is going to notice that, wait a minute, my Facebook, my Twitter, I don't remember writing that. I don't remember saying this. He even says, I have a gun in my backpack. I never had a gun there. Didn't no one thought this would work? Unless you find out that Noel's plan was, oh yeah, he's going to go crazy, and then when people just think he's insane, and that was his dirty plan all along, and that's how evil Noah's become. But that didn't seem like that was the plan. Is that, oh, I would go to buy him off. But I mean, if his plan was, oh yeah, he'll go insane, and he'll think he's insane, and people are like, what are you talking about? And no one's going to believe him, and oh well. Like, if that was his plan, then okay. Why Devin and Lena would go with it, I don't know. Devin and Lena, they start bonding with each other, they sleep with each other, you find out that they like each other. Noel doesn't like that, just Noel likes Lena. So it becomes a little bit of a love triangle. Which I don't know, that felt kind of out of the blue. I don't know if that was really incorporated as much in the beginning of the film. I think maybe a bit more hints of that could have incorporated in the beginning of the movie. There were like maybe one or two, but maybe like a little bit more that could have worked better. And it's the third act where things got messy with the plot. Because Josh thinks he's going crazy. He hears there's something going on with Noel and these patents and stuff, or the stuff he's selling, this technology. He confronts Noel with a gun. He turns and someone else comes out of the mirror. And there's two Noels. And one Noel shoots Josh and the other Noel. But I don't know which Noel is which. Like, was the Noel killed the original Noel? Or was this Noel who did the shooting the original Noel? I think the one who did the shooting is the original Noel. Because you see that he's a bit more crazy, and he's talking to, oh yeah, Lena, I love you, and I was watching you, and I took care of Devin, and this is where you find out that after Lena slept with Devin, Devin disappeared, went on a journey, found him, found out it was a different Devin, alternate. Noel did the same thing to him as he did to Josh. Lena's horrified. I think they could have made that more clear. Maybe if the Noels were wearing different clothes and not wearing the same fucking clothes. Which that's a weird thing. It's like little things will change, like on social media. Like Josh doesn't recognize, but people will wear the same clothes. Whatever's convenient for the plot. And then Noel wants to have Lena be his wife, and then Devin comes in and with a gun and wounds him. goes through the mirror trying to get back. Lena stops it, so the guy's cut in half. Which you don't see a lot gore wise. And then, for some reason, this alternate Devin doesn't want to go home. Just by the rules of this, when you go through, you go to any universe, but when you come back, you go back to your prime. That means in this guy, when he went through the mirror, wouldn't he go back to his home? Why would he not go back to his home? Why would he want to stay here? In this world where one friend turned on him, the other Josh is dead, all this crazy shit's going on, why would he not want to go back to his home? Or better yet, with Lena, why would you want to stay, Lena? Why don't you just go over to a parallel universe and live a life? Because in this universe, Josh is dead with his head fucking blown off. The mirrors cut one of your other guys in half. There'll be questions wondering what happened to these two, how come they disappeared. You probably don't be... Police don't be looking into you, you would think. Hey Devin, can I go back with you and you live your life and I'll try to find a life of my own? Maybe you should change your identity. Maybe Devin will look at that Lena and be like, we slept together. Well, a version of me and that Lena slept together. Maybe something will come about here. While Lena goes off and says, you know what, I'm going to be an artist and I'm going to follow my dreams. No. Instead, Lena says, we need to destroy the mirror. Lena decides to stay there in her universe. Devin decides to stay in this Alta universe, away from his friends, away from his Lena, his Josh. Why the fuck, I don't know. People could go, well, he could go back, he could be in any universe. But again, the rules are, when you go through, you go everywhere, but if you go back, you're back to your own prime. That's the rules of this mirror that they established. Unless they just want to change it all around now. But that's the rules they said. But then they're going to go in a car. Lena goes to a gas station. And then the bathroom, there's another portal in there. And somehow another alternate Lena knew that this Lena would be there. In that one gas station, whatever the hell, bathroom. How would Lena know this person was there and had the same clothes or whatever? How would you know? What, did you study this fucking gas station bathroom every day or something? Like, it's really to just have a twist where Lena comes back in the car, but she doesn't remember what the music is, to let the audience know, yep, the Lena was murdered by this other Lena, so she could be with Devin. Again, how the hell that came about with now Porto is in the gas station bathroom, and how the fuck did this person know that the other Lena would be in that gas station bathroom? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And it felt like a very lousy ending. Like, we need to have some kind of shock twist. So, do I think it's a decent time waster? I don't know. It's less and less now, more I think about it. I like the idea behind the film. I like the actors behind the film. I think the first half of the movie was somewhat interesting. Although I did have questions here or there. Maybe hoping they would be better flourished in the second act, or the second half of the film. But it creates too many questions. There's too many things that don't really make a whole lot of sense. The ending is kind of lackluster. And if a few more polishes on the script, I think this could have been a nice gem. Like I said, I liked the way it started. I liked the first chunk of it. The actors did their jobs what they could. Maybe a little bit more flesh out of Noel before he turns all heel, all bad guy. Maybe that character would have been fleshed out a bit, but yeah, it is what it is. So Parallel, I don't know. It's not the worst movie I've seen. I think there's nice potential in there. I think, though, the screenplay really hampered it a lot. Sadly. So, maybe instead of decent time waster, I'll just say time waster. It was a time waster. With some decent bits in it, but, yeah. Flawed movie, in my opinion. With that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.